Wolfpack, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, rotostreetjournal.com. We breed and feed fantasy wolves here with your Week 9 injury and Week 10 waiver wire look ahead. Let's get it going Monday night right around 7 p.m. A little later today. A lot going on outside of here that I had to get ready. But ultimately, we will recap every big injury and then, of course, all the names you should look for on the waiver wire in light of those injuries. Those two things are so hand in hand. So come on down, get ready for this great Jets and Patriots fucking barn burner of a football game. Ask any sit starts you may have remaining, any look aheads to next week, trade questions. Of course, I will answer everything we get. A waiver wire, how much fab to blow, money, all that good stuff. Happy to answer anything as you guys come on down. Let's recap, though, some of these big injuries, starting with the biggest name of all, the ultimate blue balls. He comes on in, gets you a nice 35 points, and now he is day to day. Mr. Christian McCaffrey, absolutely studly performance. So much for alternating series. Guy was a dominant workhorse, acting as a ridiculous receiver, ridiculous runner. I mean, 10 targets, 8 catches, 100 yards receiving, just about touchdown on the ground, touchdown to the air. Monster. Every reason why you love him was on display. And now this year, just can't seem to make it through a game, unfortunately. Thank God Ian Rappaport kind of making us all paranoid, saying, he's week to week, potentially serious season, shoulder injury. It's ultimately looking more day to day, so that's better. That's good. Could play week 10, but his status, Christian McCaffrey, is in jeopardy. So just make sure you are tracking that throughout the week. I know Mike Davis was dropped in 25% of ESPN leagues coming into today, so check your waiver wire. Did somebody get a little impatient, drop Mike Davis? Because if he's in line to start, he's in line to be a top 15 running back every single time because of how much they use their running backs in the pass game, the volume they force feed them, and a quality matchup coming up. So ultimately, check your waiver wires for Mike Davis, see if he's dropped. It seems like McCaffrey should be okay, but just something you have to monitor moving forward. David Johnson suffers a concussion, did not return, ultimately opening the path to Duke Johnson finally being freed, folks. We're going to talk about him when we get to the waiver wire portion of this, but just noting that David Johnson did not come back. He looks slower and slower by the week. This certainly is not going to help him pick up speed. Maybe this is the opening that Duke Johnson needs to not only just have a week of streamability like a Gio Bernard light here, but maybe even take over the backfield. We'll talk about Duke Johnson's performance in a little bit, but David Johnson not returning after his concussion, not a great sign, but an offense that is taking off regardless of whether he's in there, regardless of who's in the backfield. So it is important to note who's that going to be. David Montgomery, another sign of empty calories. Good fucking Lord. 14 carries, 30 yards, 3 catches, 12 yards, as inefficient as he always is. The Krispy Kremes of fucking fantasy football. Useless on the field and now off the field. Gets a concussion in the protocol right now. In his absence, Ryan Nall has 4 catches, 35 yards, and a TD. Yay. Cordarrelle Patterson also had a handful of carries and catches. Yay. You can do better than the Bears backfield in most cases. If you're truly, truly desperate, I'd lean Patterson just for the upside of a big play. Should David Montgomery miss time, we will find out more, but he is in concussion protocol as of Monday and something to track. Now, Justin Jackson ruining Sundays this last week, getting exactly 3 snaps, 0 points. Woo! Thanks, Justin, for showing up. Tons of a very popular DFS play at 4,900. I thankfully avoided him, but for the most part, he was chalky, and it did not pan out for people who started in a lot of lineups. Highly recommend him. He's facing the fucking Raiders, the easiest possible matchup for running backs, and gets knocked out early. Rumor has it he returned to the game. I don't know if anybody can confirm or deny whether Justin Jackson was actually in there. I think I saw his jersey flash at one point. Piece of fucking shit. He didn't do a damn thing all Sunday, even if he did come back. Caitlyn Bellage, we're going to talk about in a little bit, leading this backfield in usage. Who would have thought Caitlyn Bellage? But that is the trash heap that we are dealing with, folks. So now we got somebody else, Caitlyn Bellage, rising from the dead. Maybe just the latest. There goes the lights. Very good. It's all good, babe. That poll stinks. But yeah, Caitlyn Bellage, the latest in a long line of shitty Chargers running backs. Lighting issue over here, but it's all good, folks. We will plow forward and let you know how Laviska Shenault leaves with a hamstring injury, does not return after a first quarter, second drive of the game. So he ultimately did not come back, and he's looking like he's iffy, potentially could go this week. Are you really that reliant on Laviska Shenault at this point? I know he's exciting, fun to watch, thrilling talent, but just not at this point. If it hasn't happened, it's not going to happen this rookie year. So I'm not looking to scoop this guy on waiver wires or anything of that nature. And the last injury I noted, let us know, Wolfpack, if you caught any others, but Big Ben, Noah Fant, the scared owners, but both returned. Both actually had decent days. Fant, nothing special, but Big Ben came back and chucked like 2 second-half touchdowns. Ended up putting up 25 fantasy points. So a nice day. The guy seems to play better when he's injured, to be honest. It's picturing that ice pack man with like just packs everywhere today, but should be okay. Should be good to go moving forward. Fant actually ends up coming out with an injury to the guy behind him, Albert O. Not even going to pretend to say this motherfucker's name, but actually worth noting. He tears his ACL. The dude has the most end zone targets since Drew Lock on the Broncos, not in the league, but of the Broncos. Since Drew Lock came back, they had that college connection going, a freakish athlete. Just another little bump up for Noah Fant there as a play moving forward. You already love the guy. But that's it for our injuries so far. Be sure to check out RotoStreetJournal.com. We will be updating all of these guys' status and any other injuries that pop up. That's all I have, at least. Let us know if I missed any that you're watching live here. But those do, as we always say, inform our waiver wire, the injuries. So let's talk about our top pickups of the week, how much I might spend on them, the fab that could go into it, who I would cut versus certain other people. Number one on my list this week, Curtis Samuel, 29%. He's kind of becoming what we wish DJ Moore was in this sense. Insane. And I just kind of made the observation when I was watching them Thursday night last week and then into this week. It seemed like Teddy Bridges locks onto this guy in third downs, right? But maybe just was just an anomaly. Rich Reagor, awesome stat here that one of the best minds in the game tweeted out. He's caught 19 of 20 targets for 14 first downs on third downs this year. Combined, Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore have 20 third down receptions and 15 first downs. So Curtis Samuel is nearly equal to both of those two guys combined, the two number ones above him. He is their third down, like first read. It seems they're designing and scheming tons of plays for him on those money downs, and he's converting. He's been a monster on those. Again, hauling in all but one and converting 14 of 19 of those catches into first downs. It's been money for this guy who has the glue-like hands at this point. 38 catches on 43 targets used out of the backfield. Biggest game of the season, 22 fantasy points coming with McCaffrey back. 9 targets, 9 catches. DJ Moore, meanwhile, slipping to 3 targets and 18 yards. It seems pretty clear this target totem pole is reshifting to Robbie Anderson and McCaffrey just in their own stratosphere, whoever the running back really is. But then Curtis Samuel right behind these guys. And again, especially on third down, if there was a guy to really go in on this week's waiver wire, which is pretty crappy, let's be real here, I think Curtis Samuel is that pick. This offense is really humming Joe Brady, all about speed and space, and that's what Curtis Samuel does so perfectly. So big ups to Curtis Samuel. If he's out there in your league, go on after him. Shouldn't have made it through last week after now 3 straight games of 14 or more fantasy points in PPR leagues. This is the last call. He's going to be 70% owned by the end of this one. I did miss out on him, though. Jalen Reagor, who you could probably pick up right now if the game hasn't kicked off yet. Obviously, if you listen to the podcast, too late. But if you're watching live and you have a question about that, Jalen Reagor out there in a lot of waiver wires. Also, the Eagles D facing the Giants next week, a potential streaming pickup. Some just intriguing guys to pick up before this game kicks off if your league allows those type of moves. Obviously, longer term, Jalen Reagor more intriguing to me, a do-it-all threat that is in position to do it all. Not a ton of competition around him now. I've downplayed Travis Folgum. I got to give the guy props. I mean, the number one receiver in fantasy football since he became a starter. It's insane. 10 targets in every single game, 7 catches in them all. Dude's an alpha, and he's playing like an alpha. I got to give Travis Folgum props. But that doesn't mean Reagor can't be like the 1B maybe even eventually take over. I still think he's got that type of talent. Deep threat, great after the catch, good body control, the catch point. Like Reagor can do it all. I think Folgum will still be the number one here, but Reagor a close second potentially. And in a matchup like, let's say, against the Giants, right? James Bradberry taking out Folgum, probably shadowing him. That could lead to a big day for Reagor just right off the bat, returning against the Giants, a horrible secondary outside of Bradberry. And just in terms of stashing, really, really intriguing, just freakish athleticism that was dominating in camp. Similar trends to what we saw with Odell as a rookie, just such great praise, gets hurt, misses some time, but could come back and just dazzle down the stretch. So very intriguing upside stash. Check for him right now before kickoff. Let us know if you have questions. Like, can I cut this guy for Reagor? Very intriguing play. Also, Tim Patrick, maybe even a higher floor there, but 21% owned right now. I like Tim Patrick quite a bit. He steps right back in, 10 fantasy points. It's a lock for this guy, it seems at this point. 14, 23, 14, and then 13. Got hurt in the middle of a game just a couple weeks ago, so that did not get to double digits, but he also only played a half and had 9 fantasy. It seemed like he was about to. Top 35 receiver in all of these 4 weeks, just very consistent. Gets Vegas, Miami, NOLA. Like, after that, it gets tough, but these next 3 weeks heading into your fantasy playoffs, if you're desperate for a bye week fill-in, Patrick's got the production, the schedule. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy breakout, come out party. Loved it. But Patrick's been more consistent all year, and I think that keeps rolling. I'd rather have Jeudy, of course, but not a bad consolation prize if you missed out on him, because it does seem like this offense is going to start cooking. Darnell Mooney, he's bathed in hideous targets. Like, there's target baths, which is nice. You love volume. 11 targets led the team. But then when the volume is this hideous, does it really matter? It does at a certain point, because the talent's there. Mooney's roasting Jalen Ramsey last week, running wide open down the field on multiple plays every single week. Maybe Trubisky comes in at some point and just Foles has been atrocious. Not that Trubisky's much hope, but Mooney has been, if you're just judging him, running wide open, third most air yards since week 5 when Foles took over. So they're looking to get it to him deep. They just can't connect right now. Puts up a serviceable day, 43 yards, 5 catches, like almost double-digit PPR points. But solid enough. Hit your props. We all told you to hammer those props, 3.5 catches, 35 yards. Nailed it. So that worked out for us, folks. It's a matter of, how far ahead of Anthony Miller are we at this point, who also saw 8 targets. We did see Mooney outsnap him. He has 67 snaps compared to 53 for Mooney, nearly 100% of the snaps, 77 total in the game. So right around 90% of those snaps for Mooney. Until the quarterback play improves, or if he separates that much more dramatically than Miller, it's going to be tough to really trust him outside of a bye week flyer. But I think still worth holding on to if you already own him, and worth just looking as a stash at this point at wide receiver. The talent's there. Surrounding talent, clearly not, but worth a look on waiver wires. And last receiver here, Nelson Aguilar. Premature cut by me and a lot of people after a goose egg, but I think we should have been a little more willing to forgive this guy given the 30-mile-per-hour gusts they were facing in that game. He comes right back with another touchdown. Now that's his 4th in the last 5 weeks. And again, the only one he didn't score was a game that nobody did anything in the receiving game because the wins were so crazy. So at 24% owned, I think Aguilar warrants a redemption pickup here. Faces Denver, Kansas City, Atlanta, New York Jets, all bottom 10 outside of Kansas City. So this dude could do some damage. He's the guy to own, not Henry Ruggs. I think that couldn't be more evident. I fucking started Ruggs over Curtis Samuel this week. That one ruined a week for me. Oh, God, what's wrong with me sometimes? But Aguilar is the guy to own. All this is being said to lead to the main point. Aguilar is the guy to own there. Consistent, steady, finding the end zone week in and week out. Kind of like a Devontae Parker of last year, redemption type story going on for him. Not quite as explosive. I mean, Devontae was the number 2 receiver in fantasy beyond only Michael Thomas last year once Fitzmagic took over. Not quite that level, but again, 4 touchdowns in 5 weeks. Really the only week that he didn't score was a complete wash for any passing game option. So I like what Aguilar's doing. In terms of some receivers, I don't think I'm going to throw much, if anything, at Richie James. I mean, high receiving total of the week, 184 yards and a score monster. 9 catches, 13 targets. Thanks for warming the seat for Brandon Ayuk to return, though. He's like literally the exact role Ayuk should have played. That much more frustrating for, again, somebody who owns Ayuk and lost by like 10. Could have really used this performance. But I don't imagine Richie James is getting forced onto the field now. It was a good performance, and the guy does have some nice ability, but not a game I'm chasing. Not a performance I'm chasing. I think that's fool's gold, as I do Olamide Zaccheaus. 103 yards, touchdown, great deep threat, adds a nice element to this offense. But when Ridley's healthy, we're not going to see this happen again. And with the bye now, Ridley should be back after that. Can't imagine the snaps are there for Zaccheaus. Pittman, I always like intriguing rookie talents. Don't like intriguing rookie talents in a Colts offense. That is just a nightmare, whichever way you attack it. From the backfield, from the passing game, there's never a steady, either the tight ends, like there's nothing reliable or dependable any week coming out of here. So yeah, he led the team with 7 targets. Sure, T.Y. Hilton's hurt, but like next week it's going to be Marcus Johnson or fucking Paris Campbell will come back. Who knows? Who fucking knows? I don't want anything to do with the Colts at all. Just spit on them and get the fuck out. Screw the Colts. And last but not least, Cam Sims. Some other Sims apparently exists in Washington other than Steven. And if Steven, who gives a shit about anyways, he had 110 yards, but he's a special teamer. You can't expect this to happen again. Three catches, 4 targets, like fool's gold. But if you see a random 110-yard guy named Sims, Steven did not have a name change. And either way, you don't want any Washington Sims at this point. In terms of running backs, and just again, if you're watching live and you don't mind giving this a thumbs up, regardless of where you're at on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, that heart button on Twitter too, and swears and any shares and swears, comment them on it and retweets, all that good stuff helps us get discovered, Wolfpack, and it means the world. So greatly appreciate it if you're willing to just do that simple act of a thumbs up. And again, we'll get to all your questions. I see we've got 12 so far. Keep them coming in. Got about 6 more minutes or so, I'd say, of this waiver wire. J.D. McKissic, 24% owned and a legit alpha target hog, much to the chagrin of me and every other Antonio Gibson owner. But this is not about a venting session. Let's talk about what this guy is legitimately doing. And it is impressive. 14 targets. Second most of the week among receivers, among tight ends, among everybody. Only Tyreek Hill's 18, which is a story in its own self. Crazy 18 targets for Tyreek Hill, given that he's a boom bust. No, clearly not. But McKissic and Judy, 14 targets, led obviously the NFL this week in running back routes run. Just a great day all around. All 9 of Antonio Gibson's touches, they came on the early downs. He's targeted, dominating the targets 8-1 early in the game. It was just, it's Gibson's an afterthought in the late on third downs. He's had exactly 1 third down touch all year. 1. Meanwhile, McKissic often with Gibson on the field saw 45 of 54 snaps. That's 83% compared to 25 of 54 for Gibson, 46%. Now, I'm not saying I want McKissic more than Gibson, but he's not going away. He's averaged now 7.6 targets per game over these last 4 weeks. Running back 20 in total PPR fantasy points, running back 30 in points per game. So usable, serviceable guy right now, McKissic, at a position that's very hard to find usable, consistent value. I mean, 10, 11, 14, 7, 17 points. Like ceiling, not great. 17, though. I mean, it's decent. It's decent. 9 fucking catches. Insanity. For this guy. And of those snaps, 26 in the backfield, 15 in the slot, 4 out wide. They're moving him all over. He's not going to go away whether Gibson takes over or not. And I don't understand it. I mean, you convert a receiver to running backs just so you can take him out on passing downs. Makes no sense to me. They also ask their backs to pass protect among the lowest in the league. But with Alex Smith now taking over, he has a big check down history. I think McKissic is here to stay for PPR leaguers, at least. Unfortunately, here to stay. Not something I'm excited about, but he's here to stay and the number 1 running back target of the week because it's more than just a streamer like Duke Johnson. 1 week stream, sure, like a Gio Bernard light, probably, but he's in line for that type of workload with, as we mentioned earlier, David Johnson banged up with the concussion. Duke came in, saw 52 of the 57 snaps that happened in the rest of the game, over 90% there. 16 carries, 4 targets, 20 opportunities, rode that to 15.3 fantasy points. Nothing incredible in terms of efficiency, but was the running back 8 on just that volume and production, and would be in line for another top 15-ish day with an easy matchup. I believe, who's the Houston guy this week? It's not the Jags, it's who they just faced. It's a joke either way. I know I looked it up. I forgot to write that note down. Again, not overly effective or efficient, but volume in an offense that has really taken off since Bill O'Brien got fired. Shocker. Just had to get rid of that bag of trash. But they are definitely firing on all cylinders. And so, this is that Gio Bernard style play, plug and play. If you're desperate for a flex this week, you're looking at a nice 12 to 18 points from Duke Johnson that you can get off the waiver wire right now. Jordan Wilkins, I guess, if you want anything to do with this backfield, he's the guy that's leading it. Oh, it's so disgusting. I try to give this take without swearing and freaking out and flipping my desk here. We get 62 snaps from the last 2 weeks. So these are the last 2 weeks. Jordan Wilkins, 62 snaps to 47 for Jonathan Taylor. Out touches him 34 to 21 over these last 2 weeks. Don't know why. I mean, they both had little injuries going on. It's not a matter of that. None of them hit 60 rushing or receiving, but 23, 23, 21 snaps with Hines mixing in there too. It's just a nightmare of a backfield that I don't want to waste my fucking time on. So if any of you want to, great, go for it. He's the guy, Wilkins, and the schedule's a joke. I mean, that's why I was saying buy low on Taylor for a little while. Is such a joke schedule, but when it's a joke amount of usage that nobody can ever figure out, why are we going to go in? It's clear there's not going to be a workhorse here this year. So, fuck. Sucks. Sorry. I was all in on Taylor. It just has not translated. The usage isn't there. He hasn't looked that great. It sucks. And Wilkins is the guy there. If you really want to bet and see maybe one of them emerges down the stretch for that joke schedule, it seems like Wilkins is going to have the best fucking shot at this point. But I'd probably even have this guy above him. Caitlyn Bellage, only 1% owned. He takes over the backfield without Jackson there. Played fewer snaps than Kelly, 31 of 79 compared to 43 for Kelly, but definitely outworked him. 15 carries, 3 targets, so he gets 18 opportunities. It's compared to 9 carries, 5 targets for Kelly, who just, this was the definition of Kelly's ever going to get it done. It's now. Jackson not in against the Raiders, the easiest of matchups. And instead of just handing him the reins, they forced him off the field to get in Caitlyn fucking Bellage, who actually looked, dare I say, kind of decent. We've seen the track record now of whoever gets away from Adam Gase blows up. Maybe that's all Bellage needed to do was get away from Adam Gase. Out there in your leagues, worth a backfield look for sure. Given the production, was the running back 4 in fantasy this week. That's how horrible this week was. McKissic was the 3rd. Caitlyn Bellage was the 4th. Duke Johnson was the 8th. Joke of a running back week if you didn't have Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey. So I'd give him a look this week if you're desperate for a running back. It seems like Jackson, injury concerns, a slow healer last year, could be important. And last but not least, if you have for running backs, stash Cam Akers tonight if you got trash to cut, on the bye week. I'd rather have Reagor. I'd rather have the Eagles defense, but hey, stash some trash. Because what if he gets that post-week, the post-bye week rookie bump we've seen for a lot of rooks this year? Henderson entered the bye week a little dinged up, was expected to be fine, but you just never know if something lingered or flared up. And Akers is suddenly starting. The schedule does soften up. Well, there's just that slight, minimal, disgusting, probably not going to happen chance that Akers could end up becoming something. Worth it if you have fucking Henry Ruggs on your bench. See ya. Get ahead and stash a guy like Akers and see what happens. In terms of quarterbacks, Drew Lock just eviscerated the Falcons as expected, as everyone does. 13% owned. That's par for the course. 313 yards, 2 TDs, interception. The Konami upside, though. 7 rushes, 47 and a score. Looking kind of nimble doing it. And as we mentioned with Tim Patrick, not a bad schedule moving forward for Lock. The defense has been subpar, which kind of keeps shootout scripts alive. I like this guy moving forward. I've always liked, he's fun to root for, of course. You want to root for Drew Lock. But we've now seen 2 in a row where he's gone over 300, multiple scores, over 20-something fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. I like it. And again, Vegas, potential shootout. Miami, potential shootout. NOLA, probably going to be a shootout over his next 3 weeks, especially if you're in 2 quarterback leagues or you need a bye week fill-in. Drew Lock is cooking right now. The weapons, Jerry Jeudy was running wide open every play, so thank God he's finally decided to throw it to him. Noah Fant streaking down the seams. Tim Patrick, as we mentioned, great. KJ Hamler, like some very quality weapons for this guy that seems to be clicking and getting it together here. I like Drew Lock moving forward. He'll probably be a weekly top 17 or so quarterback. So for two QB leaguers and just bye week fill-ins, not too bad. Another guy that's out there too, though, Tua Tags, looking solid after not even hitting 100 passing yards in his debut. Needs to keep the script up a little bit more. Needs to put the air under the ball. Completes nearly 250 yards, 20 of 28. Nice high percentage there. 2 scores, also getting a little action with the legs. 7 carries, 35 yards. Not bad. 20 fantasy points for the guy. I like to see the mobility. I like to see him running around too. Look pretty nimble, juking out defenders and all that good stuff. Certainly no Kyler Murray, who's on the other side of it, but like he can run. And we talked about easy schedules. He gets the Chargers, 3rd most points to quarterbacks, Denver, 10th most points, then Jets, 9th most points, 3 straight bottom 10 defenses against quarterbacks. Sign me up for a bye week fill-in or quarterback 2 for sure. It could be one of those situations where he just keeps getting better and better and better by the week, and especially next week, right? Against Herbert. It's going to be back and forth. That's how the Chargers games have all become. Always a great script to stack up. I don't mind Tua right now. Intriguing pickup off the waiver heap if you're looking for a quarterback fill-in. And last 2 names for tight ends. Austin Hooper, 41% last call. One of the only potential consistent guys out there. Another one that's out there tonight if you have that setting in your league. Scoop him now if he's sitting there and you need a tight end. He had 5 receptions in 3 straight games before the bye, and that was with Odell there before his injury. So now the ceiling could be even higher, carving out that meaningful value. Yeah, Harrison Bryant's looked good, but Hooper's the guy there. Again, 10 straight fantasy points in 3 straight weeks before getting hurt. That's not easy to find at tight end. I like Hooper a lot. So let us know if he's out there and you need tight ends. And the last name would be Irv Smith, 8%. Hauled in 2 scores because, well, why the fuck not? Also played, the 3rd in terms of snap ranking. So lowest in their tight ends for snaps, but highest in the routes. 4 targets in 3 of his last 4 games. I mean, I'm grasping at straws, yes, because that's what we do at tight end. We grasp and grasp and grasp because it's all we got. But the involvement in the red zone, creative scheme that came out of the backfield on one of them, I believe. He moves around in motion when he's in there. Athletic, like we see it. We see it when the position is such a freak show. Like, fuck Jordan Reed. I'll try Irv Smith out. All righty, folks. That's all we have in terms of waiver wire pickups. If there's anybody you're waiting for or wondering about, let me know. But on the mailbag is here. Let's get the banner right. So let's answer any questions you guys have. Let's get ready for this awful, awful football game. What up, Mitch Chavez? As always, great to see you. Denny Jennings, what's up, my dude? Awesome to see you. Let me know, Denny Jennings, what you're thinking about your Eagles guys, Reagor, Goddard. Like, are these guys going to get it together down the stretch here? I'm looking forward to it. Shady ass people, my man Firster. Let's go, Wolfpack. Like and share. Put my money on Jets. Cam going to choke. I don't know about that, Shady. If I was going to read into tonight's game, I'm big into Cam Newton. I think he's going to go crazy. It's an awful defense. They need a rebound. Cam has some pride. I mean, he's been pretty visibly upset over the last week talking about his performance, the fumble. They could have been in it with Buffalo, who just eviscerated the Seahawks. I don't think this Pats team's about to roll over in their graves here. I think we're going to get a big fired up game from him. Damian Harris, I'm all about tonight. I think CJ posted our props, and the one I love that I came to is is Cam Newton plus 600 to score a rushing touchdown. The first touch, not to score just one, to score the first touchdown. I think he's going to run in 2 tonight, and I'm absolutely all about him scoring the first one. So I'm going to go all in on plus 600 Cam Newton for the game's first touchdown, and there's no way they're choking shady-ass people. Not about that life, not at all. Justin Jackson was seen running out on the field, getting the tee after the kickoff. Exactly, Dennis Jennings. That's about it. Carson Wentz did not have a turnover. That's about positive of this week, right? Exactly. Running down the sideline to give Bellage water. Oh, Wolfpack making me chuckle on this Monday here. What's Mixon's status looking like for next week, asks Cody Hoxie. I actually had Mixon pulled up, and the latest is nothing. We haven't seen anything yet. Obviously was out with that foot injury, but with the bye week, and it was kind of like maybe he gets in there for week 8. I think he's probably good to go, but we'll wait. We'll be tracking it. We will let you know, Cody, when we know more officially. Dan Reagor's picked up, but the way you're describing him kind of giving me a Nick Chubb. Yes, sir. I'm a big fan. And it's obviously, not like he's guaranteed to blow up, but had a touchdown in his first game back, was moving all over the place. I'm intrigued. I'm certainly intrigued. I just wish Folgum wasn't as good as he fucking is, because he really is the alpha. And I thought there's a real chance Reagor could take over. It seems to me like Folgum is going to be that guy rest of the year. But Reagor's going to be a quality a quality Robin to his Batman. Should I pick up Jamison Crowder, asks Rain Normsey. Yeah, why not, right? You have trash to cut this dude at a certain point this year with Darnold, those two cook. The rapport is unstoppable, and they really have no one else to throw to. There was a point where Crowder led the league in receiving yards per game to start the year. He had 7 catches, 100 yards in, I think, the first 4 weeks straight. So there is some value there. Would I use him tonight? No. No. Yeah, Joe Flacco at quarterback. But when him and Darnold are together, he's a quality wide receiver too. That shouldn't be on the waiver wires despite all the Jets' struggles. Reagor or John Brown rest of the season, asks Cody. I'm going to go with Johnny Brown. We've seen it more. And it's like if Reagor ends up being John Brown, then I think we're all pretty happy. So give me the guy himself, John Brown. Their schedule's tough, the Bills, whereas Reagor gets a cakewalk. The Eagles do. But I like Johnny Brown just a little bit more. We got one from Shooter Q asking thoughts on trading Folgum for Hunt. I'd probably rather be on the Hunt side. Even when Chubb was healthy, he was a top 20 running back. I think top 15 even. Had outscored Chubb. He's kind of better in just that receiving role, it seemed, to be honest. Well, obviously, I'd prefer him as a workhorse if I'm a fantasy owner. I want the volume, but Hunt gets it done so efficiently as a receiver. It might be a good thing for him not to be so featured. And then again, of course, if something happens to Chubb, you got yourself right back with that monster handcuff upside that just didn't come to fruition at the level we expected. Still could be a beast, though, should he go down again. So I prefer Hunt, but it also depends on your roster construction, too. Jefferson, Judy, or Samuel, rest of season for Sarah Riley. I'm going to lean Jefferson. I would rank them the exact order you asked the question. I like them all. But Judy has been so inconsistent, and not by his own play. He's been open every single route he runs. The dude's a monster. But this is the first time we've seen him get the usage he deserves. I think it's a positive trend. I hope it's going to be that way the rest of the year. It just took it this long to happen. That makes me a little sketched out, Sarah. And Samuel's been awesome, but there are a ton of mouths there. Jefferson, I know he's been kind of sketchy these last couple of weeks, but when they have to shoot out, Dalvin Cook has put this team on their back for 2 straight weeks. That's not going to happen every single time. You're not going to get the Detroit Lions every fucking week. So when we get some more contested games, because that defense still stinks, I think Jefferson's going to remain the guy. David, I'm cursed with goose eggs. If I put them on my roster, I'm sure to get 0, then cut them and they go off. At least 4, so it's DFS. Okay, I just play my opponent's lineup, put me in the money. Smart move. My biggest payday, I was facing my cousin who smacks me every time I face her. And sure enough, she had Kyler Murray and Terry McLaurin, and I stacked them both in, and I won $2,000 because of it. So painful real life, but yeah, good to see. And again, guys, if you don't mind tossing us a thumbs up, regardless of where you're at, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, means the world, helps us get discovered and greatly, greatly appreciated from your boy, the Wolf, over here. Isn't it terrible, typical, strange that like the two best receiving backs out of college, Gibson and CA? It's perfect point, CJ, is yes. Because one, Gibson wasn't even a back. He's a wide receiver. So let's take him off on all third down. And then, yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire compared to Christian McCaffrey for his receiving ability. And I don't think unfairly. I mean, he was unbelievable. Not being used on third down by Andy Reid in an Andy Reid offense, it's disgusting. It's insulting. It hurts. It's just bad. It's strange, terrible, typical. Exactly. That's fantasy for you. That's how it goes. We spend all this fucking time analyzing all this shit just for fucking J.D. McKissic to see 14 targets. J.D. fucking McKissic. Imagine if Gibson was seeing those. He'd be literally like a number 4 running back in fantasy right now. Need a 1-week replacement for Mahomes, Goff, Tua, Locke, Bridgewater. I don't know the matchups off the top of my head. I know Goff gets Seattle, which is pretty intriguing. I have him above Tua and Locke. I don't know who Bridgewater has coming into this week. I think it's Tampa Bay, which is a pretty good D despite what just happened to him. So maybe they're not that good. I think I'm going to lean Goff over Bridge, but it's close. I mean, all intriguing options there, Sarah. But I'm going to go Goff right now facing Seattle, I believe. Reich's such a dummy for stapling JT. Yeah. Is that what it was? The fumble just stapled the bench? Stupid. Just fucking stupid. Ugh. Frustrating and asinine fantasy football. A lot of Roto followers have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and JT, and for that, I'm sorry. Who could have imagined, both of them busting like this? Maybe one. I thought they were both locks. Way off. Way fucking off. Receivers are the thing to own here for rookies. What do I do this week, bro? My man Jim Bob Cooter, former OC of the Detroit Lions. Big fullback dive fan. Love to have you, Jim Bob. I will be on the stream later in the week, but Ridley, Godwin are hurting me. Well, I have Kirk and Chark on the bench. What's the play? Well, so Ridley and Godwin. Ridley's going to be on bye. I feel like, Luton certainly had eyes for Chark, 12 targets. I mean, we know the first completion or second of the game, rather, 70-something yard touchdown. So that all the reports of him slinging, it didn't do much downfield after, but sure did that. So I don't know. Like you said, could catch me later in the week. To me, I'd have a hard time ever benching Godwin, but these other guys have been lighting it up. Kirk had another long touchdown. Who do the Falcons? They get the Bills. The Cardinals do, and Tre'Davious White will be on Hopkins. So another good week for Kirk. I don't love Chark. I think they get a tough the Green Bay. So that depends. Does Jair Alexander play or not? Because Jair's been locked down. He's also in concussion protocol. So if he doesn't play Chark, you have to have him in lineups. We'll find out later in the week, Jim Bob. Thoughts on Damian Harris? Asked Scott Beard. I mean, when he sees volume, the dude's a hard ass runner. So if it's like thoughts on him tonight, what he's going to do? Well, he's going to get the carries because the Jets. Shocking breaking news. Jets suck. God awful. Probably the worst team in the league right now. So positive game flow. No Sony. He's inactive. So Harris should be on there. Even last week was in for like only 25 snaps, but carried the ball like 17. He could be in for 40 snaps should we get the lead. The Pats big. And the man runs hard. He's a touchdown threat. I really like him. I just long term. So for this week, I love him. Long term, Sony, as you said, activated on the IR. Not going to play tonight, but once he's back in this mix, and it's like him and Burkhead and White and Harris, is there ever going to be consistency? Probably not. That's the deal with them. And they're also game flow dependent. So I don't love him rest of season. I love him tonight. Mario Robb, where do you have Miles Sanders rest of season? I like him. I'm nervous for the injuries. Let's be real there. But when he's in, he's a monster. He's a 80% plus snap guy. Maybe they change that with these injuries, but he's kind of redefined the bell cow under Doug Peterson, who was previously just a committee enthusiast. He's rolled out the red carpet to bell cow duties for Sanders. Now, Sanders hasn't held up to it, unfortunately, but easy schedule moving forward. One of the few true workhorses when he was active. Tough to not like him. Probably will be top 15 overall, top 10 running back on the rest of the season big board. I will be updating it throughout Monday Night Football tonight. So I will let you know more specifically where I have him ranked, but I like his prospects for sure. Mateo, you helped get me to 8-1. That's what I love to hear, my dude. I forget who he helped you with streaming wise, but I'm into it. Now I get Chubb and Jamal Williams back. There we go, brother. That's a big one, getting Chubb back against Houston. We've seen Houston get steamrolled on the ground, especially by zone schemes. This is going to be a good one for you. So you have to drop two. DJ Moore, Parker, Williams, Shepard, Moss. The one thing is Jamal a must-hold? I think I talked about this with you on the show. To me, it seems that way, especially if you own Jones. And he's playing some lights-out ball. But I don't want to drop any of these guys, dude. These are good options here. I mean, it depends on, like, for the wide receivers, do you have some studs in front of these guys? These aren't like your only guys, right? Is DJ Moore the drop here? I know that hurts, right? Because he's a third round pick, but at a certain point, send a message to the locker room. Like, this shit does not fly. I honestly hate him the most out of all these guys, given how much Curtis Samuel's elevating. It's always hard to say cut DJ Moore, but man, when is this going to turn around to the point you can actually rely on him, right? And then Parker, Preston Williams, I meant to say this in the injury. Preston Williams did get carted off, so Parker's the last man standing there. It could be a shower week in and week out, and Tua looks good. With some of these over-the-shoulder throws, like the money ones for Devontae. So I probably drop Shepard and just consistent and steady for 8 to 10 points a week, but no real ceiling there. So I think I'm dropping DJ Moore and Shepard there. Drop James White for Eagles D. Like it. Yeah, why not, right? Fuck James White. What's he going to do? Might score tonight, and then you'll never be able to rely on him again. Like Nick Chubb, I don't know what the question is, but really excited to see him come back. He's a monster. I think the best pure runner, obviously not 3-down threat, multi-versatile type guy, but as just a sheer runner, love Nick Chubb's game. Probably my favorite, besides maybe Derrick Henry, the steamroller. But I like the way Chubb runs harder than him. Henry's a little soft sometimes. Give me Chubb. I'm so excited to see him come back. Does Judy have actual value rest of season? Asked Noah Pringle. I mean, if you like guys that are wide open on every route, then yes. If you don't like guys that are wide open on every route but don't get the ball for some reason, then no. This was a nice thing to see him, though. 14 targets. I mean, that's what he's deserved all year. Maybe, just maybe, someone finally watched some film over the Denver Broncos and was like, look at this, Drew. Look at how open he is. The ultimate separator in college has been ultimately separating at the NFL level, and it seems like they woke up. Easy 3-week schedule coming up, and then it gets real hard for the playoffs, but well worth holding on to and seeing what happens here. Reagor will get better. So, Denny, I asked you for your Reagor take. Let's hear it. Will get better as the season goes along. I think he's good for 10 to 13 points. Goddard will be Carson's number 1. I hope so. That's my tight end. After Jordan Reed's bum fucking loser ass got 0.8. Thanks, Jordy. Fucking prick. Ugh. But Goddard, I mean, he didn't really show up the last game out, so I hope that's the case. He was running wide open too, so let's hope they get that together. Chris Oyen, QBs. Mahomes, Burrow, running backs, Connor, Robinson, Jacobs, Dobbins, McKinnon, Wilkins, solid, fucking stable, man. Cooper, Folgum, Chark, Boyd. That's where your weakness lies. Kelsey, tight end, unbelievable. Single QB, single flex, looking to ship out 2 to upgrade running back. I mean, your running backs are pretty damn solid. I'd be looking to get receivers there, Chris. Cooper, Folgum, Chark, don't love any of those guys. I think your need is much more at the wide receiver position. Now, of course, if you're saying you're going to go make a move for Henry, who has the easiest playoff schedule among running backs and already just steamrolls when it comes to December, then okay. Then go get him, go get Kamara, go get Dalvin Cook if you can pull it off. But to me, your team seems to need receivers more than it does running backs. Top waiver wire running backs, and how much fab do you put on? Well, Tunes, I did a whole show dedicated to that. I'll give you the names. I'm not going to go into all the takes as why. You can tune back in if you want to do that later. But I have J.D. McKissic 1. I pay solid 25%. That rolls here to stay. Duke Johnson for a 1-week plug-in. Love him. I'd pay about 15 to 20%, 15-ish. We don't know that David Johnson's going to be out, but should be there. Jordan Wilkins, you already own him, and it's like, yeah, fine. Caitlyn Bellage, though, had a big day as the Chargers lead guy. If we know he's the guy going into next week, it's going to be a top 20 guy. And last but not least, Cam Akers, intriguing. Lockett can win you a week. He sure can. Absolutely, Scott. Huge upside each and every week. Was offered to Hunt and Evans for Lockett and Gurley. Oh, so that's what you were answering this one. I mixed up the order here. Leaning no. Thoughts? I like the Lockett Gurley side more. I do. Cut Pat's D after tonight and try and grab Dolphins. This is a long one from Shady Ass. Got Folgum, so not too upset about Reagor. Also got Diggs and Brown. Been thinking about trying to trade JB, but would rather keep. Got DK, Judy. You guys, studs. Chubb coming back for Jacobs, Claypool. Yeah, you got yourself a squad here. Rojo worth, I don't know. Rojo is probably my least favorite of all the names you've shouted out here. 5 points from Dobbins sucked. Yeah, lucky dropped 178 with Pat's D tonight, but that's nice. But yeah, bastard play from Dobbins there. 7-2, man. Love to see it though. Longtime fan there, Austin. You're the man. Glad to hear it's all going well. Tunes, 9 receivers. Jeez. Ridley, AJ Brown, Ridley, Folgum. You definitely hang on to those guys. I still like Johnny Brown. Sanders is steady. Right? You got some good receivers here, though. I would try to package a couple of these guys up and see if you can get a nice running back 2, like steady, consistent value. I don't know if there's any good buy lows right now on running backs, but I don't know. Like running back 2 would be. I got to make my rest of season big board tonight tune, so I can get you a better estimate of that stuff. But like, I mean, damn, if you can go out and get yourself like Aaron Jones, I know that's not a running back too, but like Gibson's still underwhelming. Like you could probably get him for cheapish, even though he's looking pretty decent. Maybe like buy low on Drake, even though it's nothing special, but like you could probably toss in one of those bench receivers and get him to stash for later and see what happens. There's nothing that I like love though. You gotta let me know like what you think is realistic to get. There's no like clear cut buy lows. With the win this week, I went from 8th 3 weeks ago to tied to 2nd, my dude. That's what I had in 3rd because of points. Awesome stuff, Tunes. That's what I like to hear. Turn around the ship. Always great stuff. Thoughts on James Conner? Will he bounce back? Says Lally's Locks. Yeah. He's been so steady all year. Like, I'm not going to hold this one bad one against him, but against the Cowboys, man, that's pretty fucking bad. Ugh, shudder. But yeah, I think he bounces back. As long as he stays healthy, he's always in play. That's the only question for me. One dud, okay. I don't think that continues, though. The Bengals coming up, like that's a smash spot. He'll bounce back, Lally. Tua did well. Now I got to play him to fill in for Mahomes next week. Chargers is the spot to fill him in, my dude. Definitely a great spot to fill him in. When you start thinking about stashing a defense for playoffs, Seattle and Cleveland, I haven't looked at their schedules, MJ, so I can't comment. Let me know what you're already thinking about that. You're in a great position, a wolf move there. And I like it. I do, but it also is kind of cocky, and it's like, I think it's like week 12 and 13 is when you start doing that, because you could still stash like a Madison and something could happen to Cook, or like a Pollard and Zeke finally gets shut down, although who cares about the Cowboys offense at this point. But I'd rather have that spot reserved for like Hail Mary type pickups that if X happens, then Y is going to be a fucking monster down the stretch. And then once you get to like 12 and 13, okay, yeah, let's pick these guys up. How good is their schedule? Let me know what it's looking like so I can give you a little more depth, like how early is too early for these guys. I kind of want to know myself. I have not looked ahead nearly enough at that. That's what I was thinking of. I forget what it was, Chris, but glad we're aligned. Who gets the better of the trade? Tyreek Hill, Ridley, Aaron Jones. Damn, that's going to be tough to Kamara, Diggs, and Marvin Jones. A lot of studs involved, but like Hill, Ridley, Aaron Jones, 3 number ones. Kamara, Diggs, both number ones. Kamara, the best player in the trade, but Marvin Jones is kind of just a trash toss in Daniel. Like, so I got to go with the top one. Tyreek, Ridley, and Aaron Jones. Unbelievable plays. Sorry, I missed. I apologize. Glad you could come late, Tunes. If you want the reasoning on those guys, feel free to run it back. But McKissic, Duke Johnson, Caitlyn Bellage, the names to know there. Things felt the same. I'll keep Lockett happily. He does need to show up, but who knows what Hunt's going to be. It's close. I mean, that was a good offer. Like, but Evans too, like that, he seems to be trending the wrong way. So need to drop one with Chubb coming off IR. Jefferson, Swift, Folgum, Bernard. I think it's Bernard there, Sarah. Really just a handcuff. And, if Mixon stays in, then so much. Pick 2, Mixon, Lockett, Connor. I don't know their matchups this week. I'm not going to lie. I do my ranking show tomorrow, Lally Locks, right around 5:30. So catch me tomorrow. I'll look at matchups. I'll go into strength of schedule, all that good stuff. But don't know off the top of my head right now. Already accepted it. Sorry to hear it, Daniel. It's not like you got fleeced. You know what I mean? Like, you got the best player in the deal, Kamara. And Diggs is a monster. I just, Hill and Ridley, especially at that 18 target day from Hill, they're monsters, and Aaron Jones's playoff schedules, cake. So I don't, don't love the deal, but you did get Kamara, the best player of the deal. So it's not like you got fleeced by any means. And as you say here, I got some low wide receiver ones on the bench. So, I mean, if you got the depth, then yeah, then get the best player. Are you in a big league? Ask Shady Ass people. What's up for grabs? Where are you sitting? It's a pack leader. I hope well, man. You always help us out. Let's help you. So, dude, not in horrible shape by any means. Obviously, if I've given you enough advice that you're, we have a lot of Wolfpack messaging in that they're crushing it. So I love that. Unfortunately, I got most years you get the top of the draft and you're like, yes. I got Christian McCaffrey in a league. My biggest league's an auction. So right after getting him, I was like, I'm going to go all in. Got to get C-Mac no matter what. So clearly that has not been – when he plays, he's been awesome for me. But I didn't get Mike Davis, and that's hurt, Shady. That's really hurt. But I'm right in the thick of it. 6th place, 5th place, points competing. But until my anchor can just come back and be steady, like I got a taste this week, and it was beautiful. But I need that every week. So my biggest league, a few thousand on the line. The buy-ins, a few hundred. But I don't go too crazy with that type of buy-in stuff. It's more about the pride. I've been facing the same group for 20 fucking years. So that's where it comes into play. It's more pride on the line. So I appreciate that though, man. I do try to ask the pack my tough sit starts every week, and I was told Ruggs over Reagor, Ruggs over Samuel by a lot, but the good Wolves recommended Samuel. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you tuning in every time too. You guys are the best. Cam got the first TD. There it is, CJ. I love that bet. I told you to hammer it after you showed it to me. I hope you did. That's a great one. Denny Jennings commenting in too, though. There goes Cam. So hopefully you tune in this show. That was one of our recommendations right from the top. I love it. But you had Harris. Huh? Unfortunate. Still best trade of the year, shipping off Dak right before the injury. He got to where I am. Yeah, that sucks for the dude who received him because Dak was a monster. The team that had Dak was first in my league and has plummeted since. He was in fantasy MVP potential. I think it was the most yards that have ever been thrown in the first 4 weeks. So sucks to see him out with how he was playing and how that offense was humming. But yeah. Alrighty, Wolfpack. Well, I'm going to go watch my Pats and update my rest of season big board. If you tuned into the podcast, thank you so much. Fantasy Fullback Dive, we pave your path to 2020 titles. You watch the replay. Thank you so much as well. Anybody catching this replay that is willing to subscribe on YouTube, We're so close to 1,000. We're trying to hit that number by the end of the year. So that would mean the world. As you always, you can find me at Roto Street Wolf. I'll answer any of your questions. Love this stuff. I'll be back tomorrow at 5:30 live for my rankings update for anybody who is interested and wants to get a jump start on your Week 10 preparation. Thank you, Denny. Thank you, everybody else who tuned in. And until tomorrow, the Wolf is out. See you guys.